Hi, I'm Bob, and welcome to this extended example of play video for Talon, a tactical space combat game by Jim Krohn, published by GMT Games. In this video, I'll be narrating and playing through the extended example of play from the Talon Play Book using the Vassal module. The example of play represents about one round of gameplay in the middle of a cruiser battle, with a lot of explanatory comments. My playthrough will follow the playbook exactly, so this video is for people who would rather watch the game played than read about it. Hopefully, it will help new people discover the accessibility and depth of the Talon combat system. Let's get started. In this extended example of play, using the basic rules, we start at the top of round 3. It is Impulse A, and Talon has the initiative in this heavy cruiser battle. His ships will get to spend available power, move, and fire before the Terran player. So far, one of Terran's CAs, the Patton, has taken 4 damage on her front arc, has both phaser groups charged, but does not have any charge boxes marked off on her torpedo. All the Terran ships have their batteries charged. The Talon CA Service has taken 4 shield damage on her front arc and only has red boxes charged for her disruptor groups. On the Impulse chart, Impulse A reads 4, 5, 6, so the Service will receive available power and Sacrifice must move. First, the Service spends its available power to charge 1 yellow box on its left disruptor group. No other Talon ships get power in this impulse. The Sacrifice must move, so he chooses to move forward 1 hex. Now, all challenge ships may fire at ships within range. While the Service is within firing range of the Patton, her weapon groups are not fully charged. The Sacrifice has fully charged weapons and would be able to hit the Patton's front shields, but this shot would be at range 4 and would only hit on a roll of 5 to 6. The Sacrifice holds her fire for now. It is now Terran's Impulse as the second player. The Patton gets available power and will use it to reinforce his forward shield arc in anticipation of a Talon attack on her weak side. He places an A reinforcement shield marker over his forward shield arc. It will expire during Impulse A in the next round if it does not absorb any damage. Next, Guderian must move, so she turns left, then moves forward 1 hex. After moving forward, she places a 2 turn marker 2 hexes in front of her new position, which corresponds to the turn radius on her power curve. Terran can also place the turn radius marker directly on the vessel to track turning if the board gets too crowded. These ships need to be careful as it looks like they may collide. After Guderian moves, Terran ships decide to hold their fire. Now it is Impulse B, which reads 3, 5, 6. Talon's Justice gets available power and will be able to move. She spends her power, enabling a side slip. Then, she executes the side slip during movement and slips to the left, maintaining her facing. Now, Justice and Service have all weapons lined up on Patton, but the Talon ships will not fire yet, as they want to wait for a more favorable range. Now it is Terran's Impulse B, and Napoleon will get power and move. She uses her power to place a change initiative marker, then she moves forward 1 hex. Impulse B ends, and since the Napoleon placed a change initiative marker, and the Talon ships did not place any defend initiative markers, the Terrans steal the initiative. The Impulse counter flips, and the Terrans now act as the initiative player for Impulse C. In Impulse C, Guderian and Patton get available power and must move. It looks like Guderian must move forward because she has a turn radius marker in front of her. This means she will collide with Napoleon, damaging them both. Fortunately, Guderian gets available power before movement. She enables a side slip so she can avoid the collision. Meanwhile, the Patton also gets available power, so she marks off a yellow box on her torpedo. Yellow boxes can be marked off even if no red boxes are marked off. During movement, Guderian executes her side slip, moving behind Napoleon without changing facing. Note that the turn radius marker shifts in the same direction and moves 1 hex closer. The turn radius marker can be flipped to the one side. The pattern decides to move 1 hex forward. The pattern is now at range 2 for firing on service. Since firing arcs and shield arcs are the same, Patton's phasers will hit service's forward shields. Another way of thinking about it is, Patton's forward firing arc sees service, and service's forward firing arc sees the Patton. Patton fires his left phaser group, rolling a 2, which deals 1 damage. Then, he fires the right phaser group, rolling a 6, which deals 2 damage. Now, service's front shields are down. Any fire she takes on that shield arc will go directly on her hull, and she can no longer reinforce that shield. Patton erases the charge bars for his left and right phaser groups. The Terrans aren't finished yet. Even though the Napoleon did not get available power or move in this impulse, she may still fire. Her torpedo can hit the service at range 3, and since Napoleon is in service's forward firing arc, the torpedo will land on service's forward shield, which is down, so all damage will go to the hull. At this range, the torpedo will only hit on a roll of 3 to 6, otherwise it misses completely. Napoleon fires and rolls a 3, just barely enough. This deals 4 damage directly onto service's hull. As soon as service marks off the third hull box, a critical hit box, she must roll on the critical damage table with 2 6-sided dice. An 8 is rolled, causing power relay damage. Starting with this power phase, service will also have to subtract 1 from the available power on her power curve, in addition to the -2 that is now in the leftmost hull box on service's hull. Napoleon erases the torpedo's charge bar. Now, the Talon will get their Impulse C. The Sacrifice and Service get available power and movement in this impulse. Sacrifice places a change initiative marker in order to take the initiative back. Service charges a yellow box on her left disruptor group. The Talon desire vengeance. Sacrifice closes in on Patton, and Service moves forward in an effort to force the other Terran ships to fire on his good left shield arc. After movement, Patton is at range 2 and Sacrifice's forward firing arc for both disruptor groups. This attack will hit Patton's front shield arc. Sacrifice fires, doing what tactical offers refer to as an alpha strike. An alpha strike is when all of a ship's weapons are fired at once for maximum effect. Sacrifice rolls for one of the 2 disruptors in the right disruptor group, getting a 2. This barely hits, dealing 2 damage to Patton's front shield arc. First, the reinforcement marker is removed as it absorbs 1 of the damage. Then another shield box is marked off. Now Sacrifice fires its other disruptors in that group, rolling a 6. This also hits for 2 damage. Now Patton's front shields are down, and he has taken 1 hull damage. Sacrifice erases the charge bar for the right disruptor group. Sacrifice will now fire its left disruptor group's weapons. The first disruptor rolls a 5, dealing 2 damage. Then, the Sacrifice fires its last disruptor in the left group, rolling another 5. This destroys a critical hull box. The Patton rolls on the critical damage table. She rolls a lucky number 7. No critical damage occurs. Patton has only 1 hull box left. Good thing they had that reinforced shield marker. Sacrifice erases the left weapon group charge bar. Before Terran can breathe a sigh of relief, Talon goes for a kill shot. Even though Justice did not gain available power or move this impulse, she may still fire her weapons. Both her disruptors will hit Patton's empty forward shield arc. Range 3 disruptors only hit of a roll of 3 to 6, but it's worth it to take this shot, as just one hit will destroy the Patton. Justice fires her right weapon group first. If this hits, she will still have her left weapon group available to fire on other ships this round. She rolls a 2, which misses with the first disruptor in the group. Then she rolls a 5, which hits for 2 damage, destroying Patton. Justice erases her right weapon group charge bar. Patton explodes. This deals explosion damage to adjacent friendly and enemy ships, as well as any ships that are in the same hex as Patton. Here, Service will take explosion damage on her side shield. Patton's explosion rating is 3, so Service takes 3 damage. If a ship happened to be in the same hex as Patton, they would take 4 damage, the explosion rating plus 1, on a random shield arc. Now that the impulse is over, the change initiative marker that Sacrifice placed steals the initiative back from the Terran. Talon goes first in Impulse D. Both the Service and Justice get available power. They each charge a yellow box for one of their weapon groups. During movement, Sacrifice must move, so she advances 1 hex. Service does not get to move in Impulse D, but chooses to use one of her Afterburners, a special Talon ability, to enable movement. She marks it off, then turns and moves forward, placing a turn radius marker 1 hex in front of where she moved, corresponding to her turn radius of 1. It's a good thing Service used the Afterburner. Now, only her full rear and left shield arcs face the enemy, instead of her damaged shields. It is now Impulse D for the Terrans, and they have a plan for counterattack. Napoleon gets available power, and uses it to enable a side slip. Guderian does not get available power in this impulse, but does have a charged battery. She erases the battery charge and uses that power to pull in her turn radius. The turn radius is removed from the board, and this allows Guderian to turn freely during movement. When multiple ships get to move, the ship's owner may choose the order. In this case, Napoleon executes her side slip, sliding to the left. Then Guderian turns and moves into the space Napoleon just vacated. A 2 turn radius is placed 2 hexes in front of Guderian's new position due to her 2 turn radius number, and Napoleon's side slip marker is removed. Now, these ships are in a concave formation, which can be optimal for firing. However, they do not fire at this time. It is now Impulse E for Talon, since they are the initiative player. Only a 6 appears in Impulse E, so not much may happen. However, both Sacrifice and Justice decide to mark off and use their Afterburner to close in near the Terran ships. The Sacrifice has no charged weapons to fire. Justice does have a disruptor group available, but opts to hold her fire for now. It is now Terran's turn for Impulse E. Their ships would not normally get power or movement, but Napoleon decides to use her battery that was charged during a previous round. She uses the power to place a change initiative marker. Both Terran ships decide to hold their fire. At the end of the impulse, the Terrans steal the initiative, so they go first in Impulse F. For Impulse F, both Terran ships use their available power to recharge their batteries. They may come in handy in the upcoming round. Napoleon moves forward and enters the same hex as Sacrifice. Since these ships are from different factions, their NFTL drives do not interfere, and thus no collision damage occurs. However, neither the Napoleon nor the Sacrifice can target each other. Guderian has a turn radius marker, so she must move forward 1 hex. It's a good thing that Terran stole the initiative. Getting in tight against Talon ships is a good tactic. The disruptors are less accurate at range 1 than at range 2. Guderian thinks she can alpha strike here. Guderian's torpedo can fire on Justice's forward shield arc at range 2. She rolls for a 2, which hits for 4 damage. Guderian erases the torpedo charge bar and follows up with his left and right phaser groups. The left group rolls a 4, which hits for 2 damage. Justice only has 1 shield box left on the front arc. Guderian fires the right group, rolling a 6, which hits for another 2 damage. Justice's front shields are down, and she's taken 1 hull damage. Now, Napoleon fires at range 1. If Napoleon had a fully charged torpedo group, she doesn't, it would not be able to fire here, since torpedoes cannot fire at range 1. Instead, Napoleon fires her phasers. She fires her right phaser group first. If she can score a lucky critical hit here, she can save the other phaser group for the service, which is trying to run away. She rolls a 3, which hits for 2 damage, just enough to cause critical damage to Justice. Justice rolls on the critical damage table. Oh no, she rolled a 12. Her FTL core was breached, and Justice was destroyed instantly. Napoleon and Sacrifice, who is in the same hex as Napoleon, must now take 3 explosion damage. Napoleon takes the damage on her front shields, and Sacrifice takes the damage on the left side. It is now Talon's Impulse F. Sacrifice spends its available power to enable a side slip, and Service uses its power to pull in the turn radius marker so she can turn freely during movement. Sacrifice side slips behind the Terran ships, and Service turns in that direction as well, placing a 1 turn radius marker 1 hex away from her new position. This is a great move for Talon, as they are behind the enemy, giving the enemy their good shields and buying time to recharge weapons. It is now the power phase for Terran, since he is the initiative player. First, Terran recharges 1 red box on each weapon group for each ship. Red boxes represent the time it takes to recharge a weapon, whereas yellow boxes represent the power that must be put into a weapon. Next, Terran has the option of adjusting his power curves on each ship by speeding up or slowing down. Napoleon decides to go from speed 3 to speed 4. This decreases his available power to 2, but does not alter his turn radius. He writes 2-4-2 on the Napoleon counter. Guderian has 2 phaser groups that need yellow boxes charged in order to fire. To be safe, he decides to slow down from speed 4 to speed 3 in order to get more power. Guderian's new power curve is 3-3-2. Next, Talon gets its power phase. Sacrifice marks off 1 red box on each disruptor weapon group. Service already has the red box on its left disruptor group marked off, so that charge bar can now mark off up to 2 yellow boxes, 1 for each weapon in that group. When all red boxes on a weapon group are marked off, you may mark off yellow boxes equal to the number of weapons in that group. This finishes charging the left weapon group. Since the Talon player was second player, he can see how the Terran player adjusted the speed of his ships during the power phase and respond accordingly. Sacrifice decides to slow down from speed 4 to speed 3. She needs more power to recharge those disruptors. Her new power curve is 3-3-1. Service is in trouble. She's taken severe hull damage, and in the leftmost hull box, a -2 is written. This number is going to modify her power for the next round. On top of that, she has the -1 power marker from the critical hit she sustained. This means a total of 3 is subtracted from her power. Service could keep her current speed of 2 and still get a power of 1 for the next round. However, since Service has a weapon ready, she doesn't need power for that. She'd rather put some distance between her and the enemy. To do so, she will increase her speed from 2 to 3. Unfortunately, this means her power for the next round will be 0. But between her speed and her 1 remaining afterburner, she hopes to fire and get out of range of the enemy. The round marker advances to the next round, and Terran begins Impulse A as the initiative player. Guderian does not get available power in Impulse A, but uses her battery to finish charging her left phaser group. Napoleon turns. Then, Napoleon fires her left phaser group. The left phaser group can hit service using its left firing arc. This will hit service on the rear firing arc. Napoleon rolls a 1, dealing 1 damage. This marks off the second critical hitbox on service. Now she rolls on the critical hit table. A 9 is rolled. Weapon group destroyed. Service has 2 weapon groups, the left and right disruptor groups. To select a random weapon group to be destroyed, the Talon player rolls 1 die for each group. The left rolled 4, the right 5. The highest value, the right, is destroyed and crossed off on the counter. It can no longer fire. Next, Guderian fires the phaser he just charged at Sacrifice's left shield arc. Guderian also rolls a 1, dealing 1 damage, but this does shut down Sacrifice's left shield arc for good. That's it for the extended example of basic play. Hopefully now you have a good idea of the flow of a round of play in Talon. Be sure to check out some of my other official tutorial videos. Good luck out there.